dear, this story with Matt Taibbi and Mehdi Hasan. When Matt Taibbi announced on Twitter that he was doing this interview, the first thing I said is, this is a trap. It's like the guy from Star Wars. It's a trap. That's exactly what I said. What is it, Eric? Tilt it down a little. Yeah, because I think I moved the camera for RT. I did move it for RT. That's part of the problem, because with them, you have to move it up. Anyway, that RT vid will post tomorrow. But I felt really bad for Matt. And I mean, it is what it is at this point. I'm not messing with this camera anymore. I'm not touching it anymore. It is what it is at this point. The interview has already happened, but I will say that Mehdi Hasan is a clown. Let's all remember Mehdi Hasan wrote for The Intercept too. He used to work with them as well. So what he's going to try to do is he's going to try to get Matt Taibbi here on errors in reference to the Twitter files. This interview was not in good faith. He did not have good intentions going into this interview. You got to understand that. He went into this interview solely to discredit Matt Taibbi, to attack Matt Taibbi, and to pretend or defend and protect the Democratic Party. That is what this is about. Most of the files that have been revealed criticize the Democratic Party and their involvement in censoring people on Twitter. So here comes the Democratic Party. They send in Mehdi Hasan to try to discredit Matt Taibbi. And by the way, if you're not on Twitter, if you don't believe me, just go on Twitter right now and look how many people are attacking him after this interview. Let's go ahead and get started with the first clip. Nearly 2 weeks ago, Matt Taibbi challenged me on Twitter to invite him on my show to discuss Elon Musk working with the Indian government to censor speech online. Today, he came on my show and refused to talk about it or criticize Musk. So there's a couple clips here that I want to play. Let's get started with this one.
Would you like to criticize Musk now?
No, I don't particularly want to. Look, I didn't criticize him really before, and I think that what the Twitter files are is a step in the right direction.
But it's the same Twitter that he's running right now.
I disagree with him. If you want to ask, I think.
Understood, Matt. Well, I'll ask you a specific one.
No.
It's not in bad faith, Matt. Sorry. You say that Twitter... Hold on. Let me finish my question. You're saying that he's good for Twitter and good for speech. I'm saying he's using Twitter to help one of the most right-wing governments in the world censor speech. I will criticize that. Will you?
I have to look at the story first. I'm not looking at it now.
Hold on. I posted the story 2 weeks ago. You tweeted at me,
I don't watch the Mehdi Hasan show.
You do, actually you do, because you tweeted at me saying, invite me on the show and I'll tell you my views. Here you are.
Well, just because he tweeted out, invite me on the show and I'll tell you my views, doesn't mean he actually watches you, Mehdi. I mean, you mentioned his name in this tweet. That doesn't mean he actually sits down and watches your show. I'm talking about Mehdi's show right now, and I don't watch him. So there you go.
What is your view? There it is. There it is. Look. Yeah, and you said, look, we'll read your words. Why don't you invite me on your show to talk about it, since you're so absolutely sure of what I'll say? You're right. I'm not sure. What is your view on Musk working with Modi to censor speech?
That's what you ask him about the particulars about it. But listen, this came up the first time. I think it was Twitter Files number 6, when you said after this was a big one that we had done about the relationship between Twitter, the FBI, and the DHS. And as that story came out, you were giving me a hard time about tweeting through it. I think was the quote. Essentially, You said, you don't. So essentially, you're arguing that this information was not in the public interest, that I somehow shouldn't have done this story that I'd worked hard on because Elon Musk tweeted something. You don't think that story was
banned journalists? I think hold on, Matt. If you're doing a story about free speech on Twitter and the head of Twitter bans journalists, yeah, I think most people. By the way, Barry Weiss, your partner in crime on that, your colleague, your reporter. Sorry for that euphemism. Your reporting colleague. She actually did call him out. So it's weird that Barry Weiss had more integrity on that. Some might argue, your critics might say, than you did.
So you see what Mehdi Hasan is doing right here? He's trying to compare Matt Taibbi to another person who was a part of the Twitter files release, which is Bari Weiss. This is how they pit people against each other, right? People who should be on the same side. That's what he's doing. Bari Weiss called out Elon Musk. Why aren't you calling out Elon Musk? First of all, the point that Mehdi mentioned where he talked about Elon Musk's role in reference to the Indian government, Matt's response was, I have to look into that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that response. Obviously, it's hard to comment on something if you don't know all the specifics around it and you don't know all the details. You don't know what happened before, you don't know what happened after. So that is actually the right thing to say. But you have to understand, this interview was a trap. This interview was done to discredit and to smear Matt Taibbi. And I'm going to tell you something that I think about Elon Musk after all this too, because I have some things to say about Elon Musk. But here's another clip here, because what he's trying to do is he's trying to catch him in a lie. If I can catch Matt Taibbi in a lie, then I can discredit him. And then the rest of the world will just think, oh, the Twitter files are just a sham. It's not even real. Then I can destroy his credibility as a journalist. That is the goal. To discredit. Listen to this clip. There we go.
Much worse than it is when you discover that actually it was simply a violation of Twitter's terms of service, that these were nude, non-consensual images for Hunter Biden. Why not mention that? Did you not know? In which case, that's kind of incompetent. Or did you know and you were just hiding it from people?
Incompetent?
I mean, if you didn't know.
Yeah, this is the part I wanted. Let me go back just a little bit so you can get the beginning part of that. Because he's even calling them names now, incompetent. So he's speaking about in reference to this tweet here. By 2020, requests from connected actors to delete tweets were routine. One executive would write to another, more to review from the Biden team. The reply would come back, handled. So here we go.
Now, that sounds bad, but aside from the fact that the Biden team was not the government at the time, it turns out that at least 3, maybe 4 of those 5 tweet URLs that you linked to, that they link back to non-consensual nude images of Hunter Biden. Why was it wrong, Matt, for the Biden campaign, not the government at the time, to ask Twitter to enforce its own terms of service against people basically posting revenge porn? Do you understand why people question your credibility on this whole project when you omit such crucial context right from the get-go?
Pay attention to the vocabulary. What did I tell you? Credibility. That's the whole goal of this interview, to get people to question his credibility as a journalist. So whatever he writes after this, people won't take it seriously.
First of all, the reason that's important is because the ordinary person can't just call up Twitter and have something taken off Twitter. If you put something nasty about me on Twitter, I can't just call up Twitter and talk to the government liaison, whose name I won't mention on the air, and say, hey, can you take care of this? And have them take care of that. That doesn't work for the ordinary person. The Biden campaign could do it. Donald Trump could do it. But I can't do it. Can you do it? I don't think so.
You didn't answer my question. Why didn't you tell us what were in the URLs? Because it sounds much worse than it is when you discover that actually it was simply a violation of Twitter's terms of service, that these were nude, non-consensual images for Hunter Biden. Why not mention that? Did you not know? In which case, that's kind of incompetent. Or did you know and you were just hiding it from people?
So he calls him incompetent. He's an ass. I told you Mehdi is a clown. He calls him incompetent. And he's ignoring what Matt said here, which I think is very important. The fact that you have a group of people that have that type of power because of who they are, that they can actually make those requests of a social media platform, that should concern everyone. Mehdi doesn't want to respond to that, though. The Biden campaign, whether they were in office or not, I told you this is all about him defending and protecting the Democratic Party at all costs. Whether they were in office or not, the fact that they went to such lengths to tell Twitter what to remove, who to censor, who to keep, that is an overreach of power. And that should concern you, whether you like Matt or Mehdi or not. That should be an issue. And he doesn't want to answer that. Look at the smug look on Mehdi Hasan's face. That's why I told you this interview was not done in good faith.
Competent?
I mean, if you didn't know, if you put
MSNBC, my
Did
God,
you know,
you got 6 consecutive years of just screw ups on the Russia story.
Well, that was predictable.
Ding, ding, ding. So he said, you are on MSNBC and you guys have had multiple screw ups.
Going to do predictable. Can you answer the question? Did you know what was in the URLs when you posted them? It's a simple question.
In the URLs.
Why didn't you tell us?
I don't need to.
Because it's relevant. You don't think it's relevant that it's a violation of Twitter's terms of service to have nude pictures of Hunter Biden up?
Look, every time.
Let's be very clear here for a second. It's not just about those pictures on the laptop. There's other things on that laptop. Why is Mehdi Hasan going through such lengths to protect Hunter Biden here? You see the problem?
Time they make a request to Twitter, they're doing what you're arguing. They're making the argument that, oh, we're not actually asking, this isn't censoring, this is just the government pointing out that
that's what the emails show that you posted. They don't demand anything, do they? They say, can you check if this is in line with your terms of service? And those URLs weren't. So I'm wondering why you wouldn't mention that.
First of all, the government, I can't even report that yet. All right. When they're doing this.
This is the other thing. There's certain things that he just can't say. Obviously, right? Notice how he said right there, he was like, oh, I can't report that yet. That's another part of the problem. And I have a word for Elon Musk here because I'm sorry. This has been driving me crazy. And I've been wanting to say this for quite a while. For Elon Musk to hire these journalists to do the Twitter files, and then when shit hits the fan and they are smeared and their journalism is attacked, which is what is happening to Matt Taibbi, Elon Musk is just sitting in the back room, and it's almost like he left them out to dry. Where is Elon Musk in reference to this? I know that, Eric. But they were still hired to do a job. He was saying they weren't paid, but they were still hired to do a job. The thing is this, he has not come forward to even try to speak. I don't see Elon Musk doing these interviews. I didn't see Elon Musk testify in front of Congress. Isn't this his platform? Isn't Twitter his platform? Doesn't he own the damn company? Let's be real here. This is a problem. You chose these journalists to do this job. And the moment they were attacked and smeared, and now they're being called not credible journalists, you are silent. And I'm going to show you something else Elon Musk did too today. This is a problem. This is a problem. Why aren't these people interviewing Elon Musk? Why isn't Elon Musk on Mehdi Hasan's show? More people need to ask this question. Because if you hired them to do this job, you need to come forward and you should be backing them and supporting them right now. You should be contacting any news network that you can to go onto that network and defend those damn journalists that you asked to do this damn assignment. That's my problem with Elon Musk. That's my problem right now. Because it's like they're getting all the hits. They're taking all the blows. And Elon Musk just sitting on the sidelines. I've been thinking about this for the past couple of days, and I'm like, I really feel like he needs to say something here. He needs to come forward and do something. Why is Matt out there fighting by himself for himself? Where's everybody else? Let's go on.
It's self-evident what they're doing, and I don't have to make claims about what it is. I can just show you what they're doing. Everybody knows.
You didn't, Matt. That's the problem. You didn't show the world that the Biden campaign asked for nude images. You didn't. Other people pointed out what those URLs were. You never did.
Yeah, I see this. He didn't hire them. He gave them access. He chose them, though. He picked them. He chose them, and he chose certain people. These are the people that he chose to do it. That's my point. Let me go on.
And that's the problem, Matt. There's a lot of omission.
Thousands of things that I wrote. Am I going to describe every single thing that I published?
That was the first Twitter file and the most viral tweet. Noam Chomsky, who you know and I know
By the way,
we like,
which is about a subject you guys screwed up.
Said one of the, and we'll come back to that, has said one of the greatest forms of censorship in the media is censorship by omission. You've heard that quote. There's a lot of omission in the Twitter files. A lot you and your colleagues don't tell us. You mentioned in passing, for example, in your very first thread that the Trump White House made requests of Twitter too, i.e. the actual government, not the Biden campaign. But you didn't tell us what those Trump requests were. It took an actual Twitter whistleblower. Well, it took an actual Twitter whistleblower in front of Congress to reveal that Trump once demanded Twitter take down a mean tweet about him from the model Chrissy Teigen. Yet you didn't mention that in any of your Twitter files posts.
Because I didn't have that story. I don't have it.
Doesn't that tell you something, that you had the Biden story and not the Trump story, that Elon Musk was giving you one side of the story?
No, see, the framing that Mehdi is using here is incredibly dangerous. You see what he's doing? He's trying to put words in Matt's mouth. Elon Musk, Matt has never said Elon gave him any stories. This is important. You got to push back on this. I've seen multiple interviews. I interviewed him about this as well. I've never heard Matt Taibbi say Elon Musk gave him stories. So Mehdi is making that statement, which is absolutely false. Matt has explained multiple times how the process worked with the Twitter files. He explained there were these search engines you go through, and he said, based on the number of emails that will come up with that information. So if something did not come up, he searched for it and there were no emails that came up. That's why the information hasn't been presented. But Mehdi is trying to basically get Matt Taibbi admit that Elon Musk was actually giving these journalists certain stories, that he was cherry picking stories that would make the Democratic Party not look favorable. And that's what Mehdi is trying to do. Framing is very important during interviews. I've done a lot of them. Framing is incredibly important. And he framed that in that way to convince the American people that Elon Musk cherry-picked those stories and gave those stories to those journalists. Let's go on.
No, you don't understand. First of all, that first batch of files resulted in the firing of Twitter's general counsel. We were looking at something on a very short time frame, but we didn't have it. I went out of my way to report that fact. I was the first person who reported that Donald Trump made requests and had them honored on Twitter.
But you outlined which ones the Biden team did without giving full context, but you didn't outline which ones. Well, maybe you should ask yourself why it is you didn't have it. Let me ask you this.
Come on, Matt. Sweep the leg. Sweep the leg, Matt. Like, you got to go hard at Mehdi. You got to go hard. Imagine the way that you've seen Jimmy Dore go nuclear. You got to go nuclear at this guy. You really do. Because let's be real here. What's more important? The information on Hunter Biden's laptop or Donald Trump asking Chrissy Teigen or asking them to take a tweet down that Chrissy Teigen wrote about him? What's more important? What's on that laptop is way more important. I don't care about these celebrities, period. I don't care about a Chrissy Teigen. Who cares? Who gives a fuck? Who is this woman? The only thing I know about this woman is she married to John Legend. That's it. That's all I know about this woman. So the framing, what I would have wanted Matt to say here is, I'm sorry, but which is more important? Corruption of Joe Biden's son on a laptop or Chrissy Teigen? Sweep the leg. You got to sweep the leg, Matt.
Your own Twitter files reporting shows top Twitter employees
they don't have it either, by the way. The whistleblower in Congress didn't have it either.
I know, but she did say under oath that this actually happened, so you can accuse her of what you want later.
I don't have to accuse them.
So it sounds like you are. Out of interest, Matt, the emails you show really difficult content moderation decisions. They don't show Twitter rolling over. They show people actually having really interesting discussions, unlike now where Elon Musk just dictates that NPR is state-affiliated and it happens overnight. They also show Twitter resisting requests to things that members of Congress have asked them to take down, members of the FBI. So I wonder, how do you call this a censorship industrial complex when Twitter, according to your own files, is saying no a lot of the time? I mean, if it was censorship, they'd have just rolled over every time Agent Chan of the FBI or Congressman Adam Schiff made a demand, but they didn't.
I published an explicit tweet which describes Twitter's internal ads policy, where
notice how Mehdi Hasan, the screenshots that he's showing are the tweets from Matt and tweets from Michael, but none of those tweets are screenshots of the emails where they're actually asking Twitter to remove people. You guys notice that? He's not showing any of those screens. We went through all the Twitter files on this damn channel, okay? All the Twitter file releases on this channel. I saw all of those screenshots. So you guys saw that. You saw it on this show, which is not mainstream media. But here you have MSNBC. They didn't even show you what I showed you. That, again, this is Mehdi Hasan protecting the Democratic Party.
they say publicly, we are going to represent that we make these decisions at our sole discretion. Internally, we are going to act when the U.S. intelligence agency, the U.S. intelligence community, that's the quote, when the U.S. intelligence community determines that an account is linked to a foreign malign threat actor. So they're talking about their two-phase system in the document. Now, yes.
But your words, Matt, you say, to their credit, they turned down requests. You say it yourself. Those are your words in the Twitter files.
Yeah, they did, but this is a story that has multiple layers to it. The government is constantly applying pressure to these companies. It starts with a baseline of them not wanting to be engaged at all.
Matt, tell him, this is what you say to him when he asked that question. What you say to him is, the problem is, Mehdi, the government shouldn't have been asking them to remove things in the first damn place. That's the problem. Mehdi wants you to focus. He wants the audience to focus on the fact that Twitter did turn down some of those requests, when what you should be focused on is the fact that they shouldn't have been making those requests in the first damn place. That's the problem. Let me add him, Matt. Let me add Mehdi. Let me add him. Marlon says Sabby's Matt's boxing coach. Let me add him. Sweep the leg.
With the government, or to have a very limited relationship. The door gets kicked open when in 2017, particularly in the fall of 2017, when the Senate Intelligence Committee starts leaning on Twitter to endorse their accusations that there had been a substantial number of bots linked to Russia's Internet Research Agency. And essentially it was made plain to Twitter that they would both be subject to lots of bad press and perhaps increased regulation if they didn't communicate with the Senate Intelligence Committee in the way that they wanted.
But communicating is not rolling over, Matt. All I'm saying is I don't see the evidence. If I saw evidence, they didn't. Adam Schiff says take down a tweet, and they don't, according to your own files.
That's not the point. That's not the issue. Adam Schiff had no business telling Twitter what they could and could not have on their own platform. Adam Schiff is a politician. He don't work at Twitter. So what Mehdi is trying to do, he's trying to distract the audience. He's trying to get them to focus on the fact that there were examples where Twitter actually said no to the requests that were made. And that's not what you should be focusing on. The fact that you had a politician tell Twitter executives what they should remove from their platform, that is a problem. That is overreach. Mehdi is trying to talk fast. He's trying to get Matt flustered to get Matt off his game. And that's why I said from day one, This interview was a trap.
What's Adam Schiff going to do? Is Adam Schiff the CIA? Is the CIA going to come to Twitter and say,
so do you have evidence? So do you have evidence that the CIA demanded a tweet got taken down and they did it immediately?
See how he cut him off and he resorted back to the original question, the original statement. See?
I haven't seen it.
Well, we think it's the CIA, quote unquote, other government agencies. We know that the CIA was present.
You think it's the CIA? You began the interview saying you don't make claims; it's just evidence. Okay, let's talk about your evidence, Matt. Because as I say, people
quote me directly if you're going to do this. Quote me directly.
What am I quoting? You just said this. We think it's the CIA. I said I haven't seen a single Twitter file.
I did.
Where the CIA tells Yoel Roth to take it down.
We showed reports that came through the Foreign Interference Task Force. We know it came through the FBI. We know that's the destination by which it came, but the origin of the document we couldn't determine because, and there's lots of these. We have hundreds.
There are lots of these, and Twitter doesn't.
This is where, if it were me, I think I would have said, "You asked me a question, let me answer it."
Deny that they take stuff down, right? Twitter put out a report in
Caroline, and you're going to let me answer the question because
Please.
You're accusing me of getting this wrong. So
he heard me.
These documents, I went out and I talked to every former intelligence person from every agency that I could to try to identify where these documents came from. And I ended up quoting, I think I quoted John Kiriakou and I think one other person is saying that looks about right. Because the people that I talked to thought that this was probably, a CIA document, that they thought that it looked like that. It could have been from some other agencies, but I did what I put the document up and I said, this is what it looks like. This is what these people thought it was. I reported that other people talked about OGA. That's.
And I'm not, Matt, just to be clear, I'm not disputing that. I'm not disputing any of that. I'm saying there's no evidence that the government is ordering Twitter to take a bunch of stuff down, and Twitter's agreeing to everything. Twitter. Hold on. Let me finish.
No, there was evidence. Guys, am I losing it here? Do you not remember us going through the emails? Us showing the screenshots on this show? There was evidence. This makes me I should have created a playlist on this channel just called Twitter Files. So people can just go through that whole playlist to see those streams again. I don't get it. What's that, Kim? Nice work, Sabby. It's easy to get flustered and Matt was being attacked in real time. The emails were clear. Thank you. I thought so. It was really clear.
I'll let you finish. Let me finish. Twitter put out a report in 2021, as you know, which must shut down, a transparency report where they said the government asked us to take stuff down, and we took down 40% of what we were asked to take down. They've never denied that they take stuff down. Yeah, I think it's serious. I think if you were right, it would be 100%. The fact that it's not 100%, the majority of stuff they turned down, doesn't tell me there's a censorship complex. I don't understand how it. I think it's serious that they take down 40% of stuff. Maybe, but that's nothing you.
No. There is no maybe. They shouldn't have asked them to take it down, period. I don't care if it was 40%, 15%, 10%, 5%. I don't care if it was 2%. They should have never had that type of overreach where they were telling Twitter what to remove from their own platform. This is what you got to stick them with. You got to come back with that. And you have to say that multiple times, like during this interview. I know in real time, it can be a little bit different. You don't always know what they're going to throw at you. I think, Matt's a really nice person. I think for me, I'm a nice person too, but, I think for me, if I were going into this, I would have come in on the defensive, ready to go. Because I don't trust MSNBC. I damn sure don't trust Mehdi Hasan. And I would expect the worst, I think this is the angriest I've seen Matt, like on streams or in interviews. But Dr. Nick says Matt is a lover, not a fighter. Yeah, I think, Just even like looking at Hasan, like Mehdi's face, it does something to me, man. Because I really do feel like you got to hit him with the punches. You got to hit him with the uppercut. You got to sweep that leg and then you finish him. Just like Mortal Kombat style.
Suggests, in fact, the agent from the FBI sent emails saying, hey, do you mind taking this? Do you mind looking at this and seeing if it's in line with your terms of service? That is not the police state that I think is being painted by Jim Jordan. By the way, you said about factual inaccuracies, Matt. Let's talk factual inaccuracies. Stanford, you talk a lot about the Election Integrity Project in the Twitter files, which Stanford and the University of Washington founded to monitor attacks on our elections. And you say some stuff about them that a lot of your critics say is not true, and that affects your credibility. You said the EIP was founded in response to the government dropping its proposal for a disinformation government. Well, there you are.
See, notice again, he's showing the tweet, but he's not showing the attached information that was included in the Twitter files threads that shows the screenshots of the emails that back this claim up. And that is on purpose.
Oh, we're quoting you on screen. It wasn't. It was formed 2 years earlier. You suggest it was government funded, even though during the 2020 election that you're covering, it wasn't. You say they labeled 22 million tweets as misinformation in the run-up to the 2020 vote. They didn't. They flagged 3,000 election misinformation tweets for labeling, so you were only 21,997,000 off. And you also claim the EIP was, let me finish the question, you can come back in. You also claim the EIP was partnered with the government Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agency, CISA, to censor Twitter, but you mix up CISA, CISA, a Homeland Security Agency, with the Center for Internet Security, the CIS, which is a non-profit. In fact, you added an A to CIS. I think people can see it there.
Okay, so there was an error. This is the thing that he really tried to stick with him. What's interesting, though, is who is Mehdi Hasan to talk about mistakes and errors? Mehdi Hasan used to work at The Intercept. When is he going to call out The Intercept for covering up the Hunter Biden laptop story? He's on MSNBC for a reason. When is he going to call out MSNBC for Russiagating people? But he wants to talk about credibility, and he wants to talk about mistakes and errors. Have they come back at MSNBC and tell people and apologize to people for Russiagating them for years?
In brackets to make that false claim. It's just error after error, Matt, on just this one topic.
Error. But the other ones aren't. The 22 million number came from their own report.
Yeah, it came from a report in March. Do you know what the 22 million number is, Matt? Can you tell me? Because we checked. 22 million is the number of tweets about election misinformation that they just mapped. How many tweets were they? The ones they actually flagged to Twitter before the election, 22 million came after the election. It wasn't in the run-up. They flagged 3,000. So you were off by 21,997,000. It's another error.
They've said a lot of things. I stand by my story.
You stand by what story? You stand by 22 million were flagged in the run-up to the election, even though that number came in March 2021, which was after the election.
No, this came in their report after the election.
Which was about some total of tweets that they counted on the election. What they flagged to Twitter was 2,980 tweets, I believe. So that's nowhere near 22 million. Come on, what? You got something wrong. You got CISA wrong. Why did you add A? Okay, Matt, why did you add A in square brackets? Do you understand why people worry about?
I actually thought that.
Honestly, I don't think people worried that much. I think you're the only one that's really worried about it, Mehdi. You were trying anything that you could to try to discredit him. I think that's what this is really about. But to sit here and pretend like journalists don't make mistakes or don't make errors, like, come on, no one is perfect. Mehdi is not.
And why didn't you fix it? I just checked the tweet before I came on air. It's been 3 weeks since it was flagged to you. Why not fix it? Do you not have editors at the racket?
I didn't realize that until now.
Okay, and what about the date? You got the date wrong when it was founded. You said it was founded in response to the disinformation board. That was last year.
Well, because Stamos is saying in the video that we were sort of created to fill the gaps.
But no, that's not what you say in the tweet. That's not what you say in the tweet.
SIO was created in 2008.
No. You say, this is what you say, that The EIP was created after the public uproar paused the disinformation board. That's wrong. You need to correct that as well, don't you?
After the...
That's what your words. You say, to quote you, after public uproar paused the Orwellian Disinformation Governance Board, Stanford created the EIP. That's wrong.
Well, that's what they say.
You don't need sources, Matt. You could check the EIP website. It says it was created in 2020.
Well, that's the date that I just said.
And the Disinformation Board was 2022.
Okay. All right. Well, then that is an error.
Okay. So let's talk about Elon Musk.
You see? See what Mehdi was trying to do? I agree, Justin. What a disgrace this Mehdi Hasan is. Yeah, this is bad. This is ridiculous.
We talk about Twitter files. You have talked about why you don't want to reveal that he's your source, even though he's basically outed himself as his source. I get that you don't want to reveal your source as you're a journalist, but Barry Weiss has outed him. He's outed himself. What's interesting about Elon Musk is that we checked. You've tweeted over 30 times about Musk since he announced he was going to buy Twitter last April, and not a word of criticism about him in any of those 30-plus tweets. Musk is a billionaire who's been found to have violated labor laws multiple times, including in the past few days. He's attacked labor unions, reportedly fired employees on a whim.
What does this have to do with the information that was released from the Twitter files? This has nothing to do with that. We all know that Elon Musk has labor issues. I'd hope we all know that Elon Musk is not perfect. And I've had criticism of Elon Musk. These are things that we're aware of. This has nothing to do with the government telling Twitter who to keep and who to remove and the stories to remove from their platform. This has nothing to do with that.
Slammed the idea of a wealth tax, told his millions of followers to vote Republican last year, and in response to a right-wing coup against Bolivian leftist president Evo Morales, he tweeted, "We'll coup whoever we want." And yet you've been silent on all of that. How did you go, Matt, from being the scourge of Wall Street, the man who called Goldman Sachs the vampire squid, to being unwilling to say anything critical at all about this right-wing reactionary anti-union billionaire?
Hello? Am I still on?
Yes, you're still on. I'm just wondering how come you've never criticized Musk despite all that?
Hey, Ashura. Yes, it's live. There's no timestamp on this video. It must be on your end. It's not on my end.
Look, so I like Elon Musk. I met him. This is part of the calculation when you do one of these stories. Are they going to give you information that's going to make you look stupid? Do you think their motives are sincere about doing X or Y? And I didn't. I thought. I mean, I did. I thought his motives were sincere about the Twitter files, and I admired them. I think he did a tremendous public service in opening the files up. But that doesn't mean I have to agree with him about everything. And
I agree with you, but you never disagree with him. You've gone silent. People would say that's access journalism.
No, I haven't done.
Who do you disagree with, Mehdi? How do you think you get the guests that you get on MSNBC? You do access journalism. This is hilarious to me. This is really hilarious to me, people. You're on MSNBC. You're going to tell me that the commentators on MSNBC don't do access journalism? What the fuck is he talking about? Very strange.
I haven't reported anything that limits my ability to talk about Elon Musk.
So will you criticize him today for banning journalists, for working with Modi government to shut down speech, for being anti-union? You can go for it. I'll give you as much time as you like. Would you like to criticize Musk now?
No, I don't particularly want to. Look, I didn't criticize him really before. And I think that what the Twitter files are is a step in the right direction.
But it's the same Twitter that he's running right now.
I disagree with him. If you want to ask, I think.
Understood, Matt. Well, I'll ask you a specific one.
No.
It's not in bad faith, Matt. Sorry. You say that Twitter. Hold on. Let me finish my question.
Okay, and then that comes back full circle from the clip that we started with earlier. Now, I do want to show there have been some responses as well. Matt did respond here. He said, again, just had a very contentious interview with Mehdi Hasan, who made me aware of 3 errors in the Twitter files, which as a responsible journalist, unlike MSNBC, which has not corrected years of huge mistakes, I am now retracting/correcting. So that's what he says there in reference to the Stanford file that he was referring to as well. And Li Feng, now he was one of the journalists that worked on the Twitter files as well. He's also come in and he said, Mehdi, you obviously haven't read the reporting here. CISA is the DHS agency that partnered with EIP. Here's an email of a CISA employee discussing an EIP ticketed misinfo report to Twitter employees. Matt got it right. So this was the piece where I wanted to save this to the end. This is the piece where I wanted you guys to understand. Again, he did not show the screenshot of any of these emails, and he did that on purpose. He was trying to trip up Matt. And Matt was actually, in the beginning, Matt was correct. He was confident with what he was saying. But I think that Matt let Mehdi make him doubt himself. And that's why I said there's a reason why they did not show the screenshots of the emails, because the information is right here. Twitter resubmitting with updated info. You see this? At cisa.dhs.gov. So Matt was actually correct about that. But sometimes what some of these commentators like Mehdi will do, especially if any of them have been lawyers, what they'll do is that they'll try to trip you up. And then you start, excuse me, sorry. They'll try to, my nose tickles. They'll try to trip you up so that you start doubting yourself. And that's what Mehdi Hasan did. Get my sneezies out the way. Okay, this one was really interesting. I like Heba's response. She said, Mehdi Hasan weaponized his religion and status as an immigrant to shame the left for not falling behind Biden because Trump is worse, only to turn around and give Bush props, LOL, as if Bush didn't lead the way for many of Trump's discriminatory, Islamophobic, and hateful rhetoric. This was Heba said this in 2020. People were retweeting this after that Matt Taibbi interview. So it was really, that was really funny. It's like flashback. So yeah, they really, like right now on Twitter, people are really coming after Matt Taibbi.